Welcome to the Feeding Our Young podcast. Have you ever heard the phrase nurses eat their young? Feeding Our Young is more than a podcast, it's a movement. It's a desire to see new nurses of all ages be supported and uplifted by their peers, and it starts with me, it starts with you. So join host Eric Miller, registered nurse of nearly 20 years and adjunct clinical instructor, and today's honored guest, me, Lily Wright, and be ready to have your life uplifted so you can, in turn, uplift others. Welcome to the Feeding Our Young podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Part B Flip Side Lily Wright experience. If you are just catching this episode, then I highly encourage you to go back and listen to the first episode first, because in that episode, Lily details, as I described it, a mind-boggling medical journey that began when, well, she was born, basically. And so, thank you, Lily, for coming back for a second part here. It's been so long since I've talked with you. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good still.
No, and something we talked about in that off period there between the two. Just a question for you, because it strikes me how open you are about discussing all of these various things that you have had to struggle through, and with just such candor and professionalism and all the things. And so is this like why so open?
It definitely took me a very long time to be so open about things, but it honestly started with telling one person and then telling the rest of my friend group. And then I attribute a lot of my openness to Youth Rally, which is a camp for kids ages 11 through 17 with these bowel and bladder conditions or any condition that affects the bowel and bladder, not just what I have, but also like spina bifida or other things. And that's where I truly learned how to be open with people who can understand what I'm going through. And in that and through that, I've slowly opened up to the point where now I would rather be open up front about things and spread awareness about things so that people don't have to suffer in silence, as a lot of the older generation of people that have my conditions have had to deal with, is suffering in silence. And I just want it to be a part of normal conversation and something that people shouldn't be ashamed to talk about.
Oh, you're just amazing, my friend. You're just amazing. Well, before we continue on this, and in fact, we'll dive into the nursing school portion of your journey now here. But before we do, let's just open up with a couple more fluff questions. Just relax. Speaking of relaxing, if you ever get a chance to do that when you're not knee deep in studies, what are the things that you like to do? What floats your boat?
I really like being outside, especially when the weather is nice, but also even when it's raining, too, a little bit, just like to feel the rain. But I especially really like biking. It's one thing that I just love to just go on a bike ride, feel the breeze, and it's less like it's easier for me than even walking sometimes, easier on my back and everything. And then I also just love like pitching up a hammock and just enjoying the evening sunset and reading a book or crocheting while hammocking.
Nice. And are you able to do that amidst your nursing school studies? Are you able to squeeze some in? Okay.
Yes.
It's important, right, for balance?
Yes, it is.
Yes. And then with that, I know you have a little bit of a work history too. So what do you want to share about that?
I would say I already touched about Youth Rally. I went there as a camper starting when I was 13 and graduated when I was 17. And now I've been back every year since 2021. 2021 was online, but since 2022 in person as a counselor. And that's something that's been super fulfilling for me in the summers. It's volunteer work, it's not paid work, but I've been able to mentor. I like the older crowd just because I've been able to mentor those campers and help them with through life and through figuring out adulthood and college and things like that. And I've also started an adoptee specific group because there's a very good handful of both counselors and campers who are also adopted with these conditions. So I started that 2 camps ago, and we're doing it again this year.
Wow. Oh, that's so inspiring. I Okay, well then let's talk nursing. Your heart is evident, obvious. You've had medical issues, so check that box there. Yeah, we've already established that your mom could be a nurse. So she's not officially a nurse, but she's more of a nurse than I feel like in the moment. You know what I mean at this moment. So I guess all these potential factors. Why nursing for you, Lily?
I think that it's because growing up, didn't think that I could ever be a nurse or ever be in healthcare, period, because of the conditions that I was born with. I guess it was kind of me limiting myself and saying I can't do this, but
Hmm.
then I met people along the way through camps, through social media that have taught me that you can be in healthcare. I know a doctor who was also adopted from China, and he has some of my conditions, and he is a gastroenterologist at Children's Hospital Philadelphia.
Oh.
And I know another nurse who's had 70 something surgeries with my condition, and she works at the hospital that she grew up in. So people like that have encouraged me and just like sort of showed me that it is possible. And also, I want to be able to be a resource for patients and families that, they aren't alone and that it is possible to do these things because I'm doing them. It's possible for you or your kid to do them too.
No better reason to be a nurse in my book then. Well, let's talk nursing school then. So you decide you want to be a nurse. How'd you land at Gonzaga? Let's start there.
Well, I applied to Whitworth and Seattle Pacific University, and I received my email from Seattle Pacific saying that I got into their nursing program while I was in the hospital, actually. I had to have another pelvic reconstructive surgery that landed me in the hospital for 7 or 8 days. And during that time, I got the email saying that I got into their nursing program. And my mom kind of just threw it out there like, why not Gonzaga? Because I thought it was like this hard to reach, like apple at the top of the tree, and I'm barely 5 feet. I'm 4'11" on a good day, is what I tell people. So like out of reach school. But my mom just kind of nudged me and was like, might as well try. There's no harm in trying it. And so my mom helped me. I hit my button for my dilaudid PCA, and I was like, okay, we're gonna fill out the application, I guess, for Gonzaga, and that's kind of how I ended up here.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, you're still here, and as you established, you graduate soon. How does that feel, by the way?
It feels surreal. Like I've been stuck in school for so long that I'm just like, whoa, like this, I'm gonna go have a career.
It's happening. You get to be the grown up now.
Yes.
Not saying that students aren't grown ups. So let's not twist that
We're
around. But
we're adults with lowercase a's. That's what I call myself, an adult with a lowercase a. I haven't reached capital A yet.
I love it. Neither have I. Tell me how you do it. Okay, when you get there. No. So then, I guess, what do you love about nursing school?
Or at least for Gonzaga, I really love the community. All of my professors have been phenomenal. My clinical instructors, everyone have been amazing. And then the friends that I've made along the way, our cohort, I feel like is super close. Um, and we all just like to support each other and we get along very well. And I just am very thankful for the tight knit community that has been created through, like, it's obviously us choosing as nursing students to not be competitive against each other because that can sometimes happen in school, but
Yeah.
to get along, but also our professors like kind of modeling that for us and like creating more of a learning, nurturing environment rather than like something where we're competing against each other all the time.
And that's huge. I think that's a big difference, right? There's a lot of competition getting into schools and getting into programs, et cetera, et cetera. And then, as we've established clearly before on this program, like that stuff needs to go by the wayside at that point. At that point, you're competing with one person, and that's yourself. And that's just
Hmm.
making yourself a better version of yourself, hopefully, each and every day, which is not realistic necessarily, but maybe every week, maybe every month, maybe after a little while, you're going to be a little bit better than you were before. And that's the competition that really needs to be in the forefront when it comes to nursing school. So, of course, as we've also already established, nursing school is hard. Nursing school comes with inherent challenges all on its own. And yet also, now you have duly informed us on why it becomes a little extra challenging for you. And you've also teased a little something extra as far as something that happened during nursing school. So I'll let you answer this question however you please, Lily. And that is, would you care to share about any challenges you've had in life at nursing school?
Yes, so going off to college is a big step for anyone, let alone people who have the same conditions or even anyone with a disability
Mm-hmm.
has. You have to figure out, well, what accommodations can I get and like what's housing going to be like? What's it going to be like making friends? When do I tell my new friends? All of the above. But in addition to all the like quote unquote normal stuff that people um, struggle with transitioning to college, you are also 18, or at least I was. And now all of the medical stuff falls onto you because instead of
Mm-hmm.
your parents, like instead of my mom like scheduling appointments, communicating with doctors, it's now me as the primary person. And that's a whole thing in it of itself to navigate because, you're seeing the bills pop up. I mean, thankfully my parents have, paid all the bills and stuff, but it's still, stressful to see all the bills popping in and then to have to schedule your own appointments and sometimes do your own appointments without anyone there, where my mom was always there for every appointment I pretty
Mm.
much had.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a big thing. And another thing that's specific for anal rectal malformations and VACTERL is that who do you go to when you are all grown up, so to speak, from the pediatric hospital perspective? Now, this is kind of a blessing and a curse, but I've had too many issues to be graduated from the children's hospital. Which blessing and a curse. It's definitely a
Yeah.
double-edged sword. Like my team at Children's is amazing, but also I can't stay at Children's forever type of thing. So it's just,
Yeah.
and there's only two specialists in the US that take adults and that are certified in adult care in these things, and they're both on the east side. So it's I kind of
Mm.
am stuck at the moment, but I'm happily stuck. I wouldn't want a different team, honestly. But yeah, I had some flares and my amazing quality of life surgeries that I had to do the flushes stopped working
Oh no.
altogether. So instead of just an hour to an hour and a half, I was spending 2, 3, 4 hours a day trying to plan around when my bathroom schedule would be because that's how long it would take for the program to work, for the bowel program to work.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
I would have to plan social outings or events or studying groups or all these things around when I would do my flushes. And it was definitely very, very challenging to get through that portion because the doctors didn't know what was happening. So, in addition to them not knowing, I'm getting all of these tests done. So, I'm scheduling appointments, I'm getting tests done, and I have to travel all the way to Seattle for my tests because they don't do them here. So,
No.
I'm having to plan around like natural breaks or having to say I can't go to school this day because I have to go to Seattle. Thankfully, telehealth is a thing, so a lot of my appointments could be in between classes. But
Yeah.
still, you have this big appointment, you have bio class in the morning, you have this big appointment, and then you go about the rest of your day after this appointment, you go to your next class, and it just keeps going because we have so many classes. So
Mm-hmm.
that has been probably a huge challenge in nursing school, is just balancing like social life with school life with medical life. Like it's all woven, jumbled, and it's something that I had to kind of learn. No one could really teach me how to do that. Like I had some mentors who were older than me, but still I was having to figure it out for myself.
You're
Um,
trailblazing. I mean, at this
yes,
point.
I'm
Yeah.
trailblazing for myself,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my
Or even
goodness.
figuring out, can I even work while I'm in school and these things, which spoiler alert, I can work while I'm in school and doing all these things. And but that's still, another thing to add is working, trying to make money, trying to, provide a living for myself. And especially when you move off campus, you're not paying the dorms through like scholarships anymore. You're paying your own rent and
Right.
things like that, which thankfully my parents do help me pay rent. But the day-to-day stuff like groceries and stuff, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you right now, Lily. I don't. Sorry, you have long ago earned your adult with a capital A. Okay, like come on now. Oh my goodness. Wow, wow. I mean, and I want to go back to what you said, the way you phrased it. You're just talking about, balance. And we've talked on this podcast a lot about balancing your social life with your school life and how to. And yet, for you, your medical life is so prominent. It's such a, you know what I mean? It's like, hi, remember me? Don't forget me. You need to pay attention to me. It's the neediest baby in the room, right? Like it's always crying, always wanting attention. When this all went down this flare, like what year was that, or is that current, or where were you in this time of?
That started like my senior year of high school after that reconstructive surgery and went on until basically until like I'm technically still dealing with issues with my medical
Right,
stuff, but
right.
um this past July in 2025, I finally said enough is enough. I can't deal with this bowel routine anymore, and I got a permanent ileostomy.
So for 3 years of your nursing school career,
Yes.
you're dealing with all this extra flair, like all that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so I mean, how? How do you, for anyone who's listening and going, you know what? And again, we're talking physical ailments. We're talking physical stuff that in the body and all the things. Maybe there's some that are listening that are like, for me, it's crippling anxiety, it's PTSD, it's depression, it's bipolar, it's whatever. Fill in the blank. And so maybe it's more of a mental health thing. But those can be as equally crippling or demanding as much attention. I have to schedule these appointments. I have to check in with my meds. I got to do these tests. I got to, et cetera, et cetera. So what's your advice to someone who's listening going, oh my gosh, girl, how do you do this? How do you keep a level head?
For me, and this is something I've had to learn, is that your friends are going to be the people that can really get you through the day. You don't have to even tell them, but for me, I'm actually more introverted than I thought I was, but when I'm around my people, like my inner circle, I don't even have to tell them if something is going on, but just being around them, being around the people that I love, trust the most uplifts me, honestly.
Hmm.
It's something that I've always relied on, friends and family. And also, for me, it's also a spiritual life. I've had my battles with God. I've had the yelling prayers, those types of, wouldn't even say conversations. It's just been more like yelling back and forth, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I've had that to also lean on, a church who has wrapped around and cared and prayed and things like that. So just a combination of using sounds weird, but like using the people around you, relying on the people around you and asking for help is a big thing. I hate asking for help. It's something that you need to know about me. I am the most stubborn person ever, and I hate asking for help, but that is something I've had to learn throughout my journey is that it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. Oh, and it's so key, you guys. It's so key, especially for those who are really strong, independent folk. It's like you're
Yes.
preaching to the choir here, my friend. Well, then let me
Yes.
ask you this. I have to ask this question too, because there's always that, you bring about the spiritual side in your conversations with God. My wife always joked, there's no it's no secret that our first son died many, many years ago. And my wife would always say, when I first see God, when I die, I go to heaven, when I see God, I'm punching him in the arm. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to punch him in the arm, and then I'll be able to worship and all the things. And, tongue in cheek and whatnot, but there's truth to that. And so many people, the why me, why, good things happen to bad people, this keeps some people from believing in any sort of sovereign being that even cares about us. What would be your how do you, the way you're beautifully and wonderfully made with all of these challenges, I mean, What do you have to say to that topic of why do bad things happen to good people? How do you believe in a God in spite of that?
That's the question of the century, isn't it? It's
Mm-hmm.
been the question of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I honestly don't know if I have like the best answer, but whenever I ask myself why me, I say, well, thank goodness it isn't one of my siblings, or thank goodness it isn't
Hmm.
one of my friends, or if this didn't happen to me, then who would be here to help this person?
Oh,
Like my campers that I mentor, like the ones I always try to stick with the graduating group, because after they graduate, we're allowed to be in contact and I'm allowed to help them. Like I had a camper reach out asking me about what job she could get this summer, but she has so many medical appointments and so many flares and things like what job can she even get or what can she even do to make money
yeah.
around all of these things? And she's in the hospital more than I am and has more appointments than me. And I told her, well, if you're okay with it, house sitting's a great one, dog sitting, things like that, front desk worker, where you can sit and make your own schedule. I was able to give her advice. And, if none of these, if I didn't have the experiences that I've had, I would only be able to sympathize, not empathize.
Yeah. Wow, that's a deep answer, my friend. That's a deep answer. I love it. And at the risk of getting a little more shallow, because the other competing question that I had in my mind is, of course, I mean, you talk about leaning into your team, into your support people, using, relying on your friends. You know what I mean? We do. We use each other. That's the whole. Like, we do need to use our friends for help. We cannot do it on our own. But I see what you're saying with that. But and you've touched on the spiritual, but is there anything like I'm picturing this, like if you have a scheduler, it's got to have so many colors and so many things going on. Do you have practical tips on how to balance, like you just said, your school life with your social life, with your medical life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
It's definitely very hard. And my friends who like are on campus, like from high school or friends I know through camp, they always joke that, I need to just send them a calendar link to like schedule in. And believe it or not, I've never been a person to use a planner.
Hmm.
I don't know how I've gotten through nursing school without like a planner calendar thing or even a online planner.
Yeah.
I just plug in when my classes are. I plug in when each appointment is. I make sure to add it to like my calendar, but I don't have like something that I check things off with, even for homework or anything. I don't know. I'm just kind of type B chaotic like that. But I would say you make time for the things that matter. And for me, if it's a connection with a friend from camp or a random parent in one of the support groups I'm a part of asking for help, I make the time.
Hmm.
I shift things around, I make it work because there's always, you'll find a way, or like where there's a will, there's a way. That's what I grew up hearing all my life is
Hmm.
where there's a will, there's a way. And if it matters to you, you'll find time for it.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I don't want to, before we go off on anything else, you've kind of touched. Is there anything else you want to touch on as far as nursing school is concerned, and or any challenges or lovely things about nursing school?
No, I think just like the community and just I find fulfillment in nursing when friends were begrudgingly waking up. It was kind of an outlet for me, I'm not gonna lie. It was
Hmm.
a place where I can turn off my brain from my own medical ish like stuff and be able to just help other people.
Yeah.
Um, that comes with its own triggers with the whole PTSD thing, but all in all, like that has been a good outlet for me is to be able to focus on someone else outside of myself.
That's incredible. And so then, before we talk about future plans, which is kind of where I'm headed, you've already mentioned it in multiple ways, but you wanted to talk about disability advocacy. And so, I mean, you can recap things that you've already touched on. Is there, what else do you want to cover under this umbrella topic?
I think that for I think that disability advocacy is a huge thing, especially in nursing, because there's not that many or just healthcare in general, healthcare people from what I've seen in media or people that I've met. who have both sides, have seen both perspectives of being in the hospital bed versus being at the bedside. And that's why I think advocacy is so important. I was actually the president of the Disabled Student Union on campus for a year, but then nursing school got too busy and I had to say no to things. That's another thing. Learn to
Oh.
say no. Yeah,
Yep.
learn to say no. You can't do it all,
Yeah.
is what I've learned. You'll get too burned out. But in that, I organized a partnership with our nursing club, GSNA, on campus, where the members of DSU basically shared their personal experience and basically shared what they would want a nurse to know about what it's like to be in that hospital bed. And the nursing students had the opportunity to learn and ask curious questions about, what could I do differently? How could I approach this? How could,
Mm.
like, different things like that, to have a conversation in between the two different groups. And I got a lot of really good feedback in that. Both um, DSU members and GSNA members benefited from that conversation that we facilitated. And that is why
Wow.
I think advocacy is so important, because it shows, one, the person who has a similar condition to you, you're not alone. Two, it's okay to talk about your struggles. And three, it's so important to advocate for, like, better care, or better quality of care, or just different things that can cause barriers. Because thankfully, with my disability, yes, I tire out easily, but I can climb a flight of, not usually more than two flights of stairs, but like a flight of stairs or something like that. But if I was using a wheelchair, that's why we have ramps. That's why we have elevators now, is because people with disabilities advocated for change and for the system to be better. And that's another thing, that one of my big advocacy topics is transition of care for people like me, in that we don't have many people to transition to from
Hmm.
pediatric to adult care. It's basically non-existent.
That's incredible. And again, it just speaks toward, and I'll toot your horn for a second, but I mean, it just speaks to the quality of individual that you are. You know what I mean? This is, you guys, this is why I love going to work every day. You know what I mean? Both as a nurse and then especially as an educator. And it's true if I'm teaching at Gonzaga, it's true if I'm teaching at Wazoo, it's true if I'm teaching at SCC. I don't care where I'm teaching, I don't care what students I meet. Like, this is what gets me going, because these are the kind of people that are just like, you can't walk away from the same way that you started with. You know what I mean? Like, I am a different person sitting here just chatting with you briefly, Lily, and I can't thank you enough for that. Like, that's incredible. Um, so, I mean, bridging the gap between education and nursing. I've made that leap. I've been a nurse for quite some time, and very soon you will no longer be a nursing student. Very soon you will be our peer. You will be a registered nurse. And the smile on her face just saying that it shows what kind of work is being put into that. But what are your plans after you get to call yourself a nurse?
Pass my NCLEX, obviously a
Yeah,
big one.
let's go. Let's go.
Yes, yes. But I'm really trying to pursue a career in peds or NICU. That's kind of where my heart is at, because I believe that, yes, I can connect to adults and I've been able to connect with adults a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but to create a new generation of adults who aren't ashamed to talk about their struggles and stuff, you have to start, young. And that's kind of why I want to pursue pediatric care. And also that pediatric care does do more focus on the whole family. And
Mm-hmm.
as, someone who's experienced things that affect my whole family, it's such an important part that I would love to be able to speak to support and things like that. So I'm currently waiting to hear back from another job. I had an interview last week, so I'm waiting to hear back from them. But I have a current offer for a NICU position right now.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness. And that's, I guess that speaks towards too, you guys don't, you may have a dream to do this, that, or the other. Throw out, don't put all your eggs in one basket, even if that's your favorite basket. And this is, I'm not necessarily a good example of that because I knew I wanted Pdonk, Hemonk out of the gate. I wanted to go and do it, and but I guess the flip side was I wasn't going to be devastated if I needed to go a different route to get there. And so, like you're saying, I've got a NICU job lined up, but I've also got an interview here. I've done, and so many students, that's the way to go. Just multiple interviews, give yourself multiple opportunities, and there may be that one that's, way out of reach, like you're saying, that way too high and that really 5'5" tree that you can't reach, and that you'll be surprised that maybe you will reach it. So no, I think those fields would benefit very heavily by having you in them, and so best of luck to you. I can't wait to find out
Thank
where you
you.
land. I better find out where you land.
Yes.
Just so you know. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I will. I can't resist the urge. The last catch-all question before we close in our traditional manner: was there anything else that just somehow skipped my mind, skipped your mind, that you wanted to cover before we close with our traditional questions?
I think another thing about the education advocacy piece,
Mm-hmm.
real quick, is that when we were talking, it was in one of our early nursing fundamentals class. We were talking about continence and diversions for continence, whether
Mm.
urinary or bowel. I basically asked, you probably know, actually, no, you do know Jen. You interviewed for
Yeah.
her for the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I asked Jen if I saw that that was coming up the next week, and I asked her if I could share some of my own products, and that's something that I actually ended up doing. Was we were talking about urinary continence care, and I brought in, I think, four varieties of catheters. That one that had like a bag attached to it, that was for
Yeah.
travel, one that was like this big, that was compact, and like I just basically showed off all the products that I had, and I opened
Wow.
them and I passed them around the entire class. And I think that's something I would might want to pursue in the future eventually, is education, just because all of my peers like knew me as a person, and then they got to
Hmm.
see this other side of me. And I think that's so important, to see the person before the illness, because a lot of the times, patients come to us, they're ill. That's all we see is the illness. We don't get to
Mm-hmm.
necessarily see the person behind that. And that's also why I think advocacy is so important, because yes, I have a disability. Yes, I have all these challenges, but I also am someone who loves to travel, who loves the road trip, who, just like loves to hang out with people, loves dogs, like all of these basic things that make a person them, that I think is so important about the whole like advocacy and just education piece.
I am so glad you said that. It's a habit, it's a bad habit, and you see it all over healthcare, and it drives me nuts every time. And yet, how many times do you hear, okay, we're going to put the liver lac into room 10. We're going to put and we're describing people by their diagnosis, Let's put the Vactoral girl in room 25. You know what I mean? No, let's put Lily in room 25. Lily who loves to travel. Lily who's been quite around everywhere. Lily who was adopted from China. Lily who loves to advocate for, you know what I mean? And oh, by the way, who also is here to be treated for something associated with Vectoral. You know what I mean? Like that's we have it backwards and it drives me nuts. So thank you for saying that the way you said it. All right, Lily. Well, then, with that, you chose three words to describe nursing school. You adult with a capital A. What were those three words, and why did you pick them?
The three words were doable, community, and resilience. So doable was kind of reflective of my medical journey and the I can't do that, or that's out of my reach. So I want to say that nursing school is completely doable whether you have these extra challenges or not. It's gonna be hard, very hard, but it's definitely doable. And where there's a will, there's a way. And then community is that really find your people, find your inner circle, find the people that you can text in the middle of the night, or that you can have like life altering conversations with, or people that you can just sit and watch a show together without having to say anything. People that will just be there for you, like lean into the people around you and really utilize that inner circle, because that's why like friendships are so important is because I was told in therapy one time that it's an honor to burden someone with your troubles because that shows that you guys have reached a certain intimacy, like intimate level
Yeah.
of relationship that it's a privilege and honor to get to burden each other with your troubles and to walk through that with each other. So that's why
Yeah.
community is such a huge thing. And then last but not least is resilience. Nursing school is hard, but it's hard for a reason. You know, you have to know your stuff, but because it's hard, you're gonna get stronger from it. It's gonna help build your resilience and like reinforce and kind of mold you into who you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Very well said. Very well said. Well, there's only one thing that someone's going to walk away from listening to your episodes with. Just the last nugget of truth, the last practical point, the last whatever you want to call it. And what is that one thing that you want someone to carry with them from here till the end of their life? No pressure.
I would say find your people, build that community, lean on it, and find the resources around you. When you're in school, you're paying for all of this plethora of resources, whether you're struggling in class, whether you're struggling personally. You know, they have resources, or at least at Gonzaga, we have resources where you can go get tutored, you can seek mental health help. If you can go see job help with your applications and things like that. Like use the resources that are around you because they're there to help get you to where you want to be. And then also just like everyone is there to support you through your journey. And so there's no reason why you shouldn't ask for help from people. That's basically the gist of it. Honestly, there's nothing more I can say about that.
Amen. Hallelujah. I love it. Lily, thank you for taking time on this sunny Friday afternoon inside talking about nursing and all the amazing things that you open the door to. So thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, and thank you, Eric, for trusting this random girl who DM'd you on Instagram and asked to be on your podcast.
100%. I mean, you go to Gonzaga. How bad could it be, right?
That's true. That's true.
No, I am honored to know you, and I'm glad to have made your acquaintance through this. So thank you.
Yes, and thank you.
Here's what's happening on the next episode of Feeding Our Young.
I think what would be sort of really useful was maybe sort of going back onto my own journey really and talking about that. So 4 years ago, I moved back from London. I moved back up north, and I was living in a flat at the time with my girlfriend at the time, and I just had these horrendous suicidal ideations, this sort of idea of how I would kill myself. We lived on the 10th floor. We had a balcony, and I just had very vivid visions of walking out onto the balcony and stepping over the balcony. As simple as that, and as visual as that, it was quite harrowing and quite hard to sort of talk about. But the next day, I went into the bathroom, splashed water all over my face, and essentially said to myself, that can't be where we go back to. We have to start to make changes and start to look at different ways of getting out of this situation. Mm-hmm. I'm extremely cautious and extremely wary that a lot of men have been in that situation and have gone the other way, which is scary and sad to sort of talk about, but that is the truth, and is something that I have basically dedicated my 30s to, is to try and sort of slow that and stop that.
Did you like today's episode of Feeding Our Young? Want to know more about the Feeding Our Young movement? Check out our website at feedingouryoung.org. Would you like to be featured on a future episode? Maybe have Eric bring his unique brand of encouragement to your nursing students or nurses? Please text us at 666-5636 or email us at info@feedingouryoung.org. We're so excited to have you return to hear our next honored guest. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Feeding Our Young LLC. Again, that's username Feeding Our Young LLC. Until next time, be encouraged and go find someone to encourage today.